Yeah.
What's going on, everybody? This is the Bold North Sports Podcast. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about all of the major four teams because there is news surrounding all of them. The Wild are in the playoffs. They're tied 1-1 against the St. Louis Blues. The Twins are steaming hot right now. The Vikings just had a draft. Maybe a couple of names that they could possibly be looking at as free agent signings still. And then the Wolves offseason. There's some moves that are probably going to be made, and we're going to talk about them. Dave Benz was unfortunately let go by the Timberwolves. We're going to be talking about that. This intro video I'm about to show you involves a lot of Dave Benz quotes. So this may be the last time you ever hear this, but enjoy.
On a deep drop, steps up in the pocket. He'll fire to the right side. Caught by Diggs. Stay up. Oh my God! 30. No. 10. Touchdown!
Into deep left center from Mitchell, and we'll see you tomorrow night.
This is not Detroit, man. This is the Super Bowl. Brutal. David Guthrie is right there. Didn't have the guts to call it. Also, and Malloy.
The Twins are going to win the World Series.
Now fires into the end zone. Edwards on the attack. And Ants can fly. Touchdown! Ants off the feed. And Anthony Edwards showing that Ants can kill. No!
How did he get that one to go?
No! Oh my goodness. Carl Anthony Towns says, I want a piece of this Duck Fest.
That's sad.
It's so sad. That is such a poor decision. Seriously.
I agree.
Honestly, it's mean too, right when we get good.
It is. I mean, he's been having to deal with horrible Timberwolves teams his entire broadcasting career. For 10 years, he's experienced one team that was good, but totally flawed and probably not that fun to cover. Yeah. And this year's team, which is basically probably the only fun team he ever had to cover. So the one time he finally gets to cover a good team, they do not renew his contract. Yeah. I think that is a bad mistake on Bally Sports.
I feel bad. I feel bad for him.
I do too. They said they're going to do a wide range of, or they're going to do a nationwide search, whatever that means. So I have no idea who they're going to try and bring in. Yeah. Well, maybe it's like Mike Breen. What if Mike Breen comes in and calls Wolves games?
I can't see it.
No, I don't think that'll happen either. We'll talk about the Wolves, but let's start here. The Wild, they're tied 1-1 against the Blues. You are our hockey expert. I have watched both of the games in their entirety because there's nothing really else to watch right now. I mean, the Twins always play at 6 o'clock, so then they finish right when the Wild starts. So I flipped the channel, turned on the Wild. First game, extremely disappointing. I didn't think they came out with any energy. The Blues looked like the better team. They were winning all the puck battles. It was not Fleury's fault. He could have been better. I thought I guess I didn't realize how freaking erratic he is.
Yep.
I mean, he's flailing all over the place. He seems to overcommit on everything. So I feel like he can be obviously unbelievable when he's on, but he can also let up some bad rebounds at times. What are your biggest takeaways from the first two games?
Well, it was a great response yesterday, for one. This is how the Minnesota Wild can play every single night, led by Kirill Kaprizov and Joel Eriksson-Ek, two of the best games, I thought. Kirill is, finally – well, and he's only played 8 playoff games, but last night was definitely his best so far. It's time. It's time to perform in the big games, and he played great. Hat trick. Joel Eriksson-Ek, he's a playoff player. I mean, Wes Wallace said it last night, but I totally agree. He's built for the playoffs. What a great game he had, and he's probably our second or third most important forward. He's going against the top line every single night. He's the center. He's getting the dirty areas.
Mm-hmm.
So he was really good. Fleury, he played great. He played good last night. The first game, he didn't really keep us in it, but obviously those goals are not his fault. They just played horrible on I think it was a Monday night.
Yeah.
The special teams was just so bad on Monday. It has been for the past 3 months, by the way. So that was no surprise, but that was the biggest thing. You can't go 0 for 6 on the power play and expect to win. Same with the penalty kill, going 50%, really, really bad. But it was very encouraging last night, and can't wait for Friday.
Yeah, I think two things. One, I think Goligoski coming in for Kulikov was a good idea. Kulikov was horrible in the first game. Goligoski seems like more of a steady guy. And then on the Blues defense, I think them not having Scandella and Nick Leddy, I don't know how long he'll be out, but that seems to have made a difference because now the Blues are playing guys that probably haven't played a lot. So, do you think what are your expectations for Game 3? Do you think they can go in there and win, or do you? I don't know. I don't. After watching the first 2 games, even though the Wild played great last night, I still think the Blues are probably going to win the series just based off what I've seen.
Yeah, it's going to be close. I mean, they have our number. There's no way around it. It's insane, really. 3-14 the last 2 years against them head to head. There were moments last night where the Blues still looked better than us, especially in the first period, the first 10 minutes. And we didn't even have a shot the first 10 minutes, but we scored in our first 2. But I think their crowd's going to be rocking. I don't know. It's big to get one in St. Louis for sure. It's big. It'd be huge to get this thing 2-2 back to XL for Game 5 and Game 5 theory. Who knows?
Yeah.
It's going to be really interesting, and I can't wait.
Yeah. Max Borst says Wild win Game 3 in overtime, potentially 3 defensemen out. Yeah, that's true. When the Wild were up 4-2 last night, the Blues were just peppering them, and I was definitely convinced the Blues were going to come back and maybe not win, but get it to 4-3. I thought that was going to happen. And honestly, because I'm not the biggest Wild fan, I was kind of wanting to see the Blues make it a close game because it was kind of boring to watch when they were up 4-0. So I would give the Blues the edge right now just because the Wild haven't dominated like they had a couple fluky goals last night. Like the first goal, the guy broke his damn stick.
That's true. Horrible turnover.
It just feels like at times the Blues just freaking dominate the Wild. I haven't seen much time of the first 2 games where the Wild are just peppering the Blues. So it'll be interesting. Hopefully the Wild can get 1 of 2 in St. Louis.
But I think last night was good confidence for the Wild because they haven't beat them in like 2 years. So just to finally, just for their own mental state, see we can beat these guys. It's just like every other team or whatever. So I think that was so big that they won last night because if they lost, I think they would have gotten swept.
It's definitely possible. All right. Let's switch to the Twins. The Twins are hot right now. They lost last night. Dylan Bundy's last 2 starts.
Bundy's horrible. Let me just say, I've been texting my uncle about it. He is the last 2 starts have been probably the worst you can literally do, right? I mean,
he basically gave his team no chance to win. I mean, he let up eight runs last night. The start before he let up 6 in the first inning or something. I mean, he was unbelievable through the first 3 starts. But if there was a pitcher I was to say this is fluke, it's Dylan Bundy.
Yeah,
I mean, this guy has been miserable. He had 1 good season a couple years back, but other than that, the pitching staff, I still have some confidence. Like Chris Archer, he's good.
Playing tonight.
Chris Paddock, he's been good. That's been traded for in the Taylor Rogers trade. Joe Ryan's unbelievable. Joe Ryan, even 2 nights ago, it didn't feel like he had a great start. I mean, the defense let him down. He only let up 2 runs, and it felt like not a great start for him.
Yeah.
But if that's his worst, I'll friggin' take it. He could friggin' win the Cy Young, and I'm not kidding about that.
And only 24 or 25, maybe. What a great trade that was, by the way.
Unbelievable. You traded.
Front office, this is what happens when you prioritize pitching, especially pitching prospects. I mean, that's the key.
Yeah. Even the guy there got in the Jose Barrios trade. Now, I don't love that trade still, but Simeon Woods Richardson, I think he has been tearing it up in AAA. AA, I'm not sure where he is right now, but I heard Dick Bramer talking about it. So that could end up being a good trade too. But there's no doubt you traded a 60-year-old Nelson Cruz for this guy.
Yeah. Very nice.
Phenomenal trade. And then the hitting. Kepler has gotten hot. I think he got sick the other night, so he missed last night's game. Carlos Correa is figuring it out.
He's seen defense.
His
warmer weather. Yeah.
His defense is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Miguel Sano got surgery, so that's you don't wish upon anybody to get hurt.
No,
but
you don't. But
this team's better without him in the lineup.
That's correct.
Byron Buxton, obviously, we don't even need to talk about how good he is. Everybody knows. The lineup is just they have not compete. Like if the lineup is good right now. What's the record? 15-10?
15-10, yeah.
I would say they'd probably be 20-5. Or 20-5. If their lineup was hot right now, like the first 12 games there were 4-8.
Yeah.
If it's because the pitching was good.
And the weather was just dismal. It was like 40 degrees outside. It was just not
Point is I am very high on this offense still. And I expect the pitching to come back a little bit to the mean, like Dylan Bundy, but hopefully not that bad. But yeah, I think the Twins they had the first month of the schedule was super difficult, and they sort of got through it. This month they were supposed to take care of and have a good month, and they're doing that. So
it's getting easier too because they play the Athletics.
Yeah, they have the Athletics, and then they have the Astros,
Friday.
And then I think after the Astros they have like back-to-back series against like the Tigers and the Royals.
Yeah.
So those are definitely winnable series.
It's really encouraging.
Very, very encouraging.
Yeah.
And the rest of the division sucks. The White Sox will probably make
that's good for us. That's good for like the Tigers. They're just not very good. The Royals are not very good.
The White Sox are supposed to be good.
The Indians have a couple good players, but like they're not like, they're still not as good as us.
Their lineup has been bad for years.
And then the White Sox, we'll see. They might figure it out, but
you never know what Tony La Russa as the manager. That guy can make boneheaded decisions. All right. That's enough Twins talk. Tonight they got the Orioles
6:05.
And then tomorrow night the Athletics back at Target Field. Let's switch to the Timberwolves. Our favorite team to talk about. It has been a depressing last week or so.
It's been a depressing day.
That's true, Dave Pence. We already touched on that. Last Friday, the season ended. We haven't been back since then. We needed some days off. It was a stressful.
We had to take some days off after that.
Yeah, the post-game show that night was kind of lighthearted, and it was good to get on here. But once that thing ended, all I was thinking about is the damn blown leads. And D'Angelo Russell. That has been a huge talking point all over. Even Bill Simmons tweeted, D'Angelo Russell is now in the 2022 trade machine. I don't know what you can get for him. I think they're going to shop him. He is now extension eligible. I don't see him coming out and saying, I'll take a lot less. If he did, I'll be glad to keep him. If he wants to take a lot less, because then you can spend money elsewhere. Mm-hmm. But I don't see that happening. I also don't see them extending him right now because
they're not going to extend him. No, they're not going to do it.
So there's no doubt in my mind a team would be willing to take on his.
For sure, someone would for sure take him. Yeah,
yeah. But what could you get for him? Because you're gonna. It's not necessarily the team is not like getting the D'Angelo Russell part of the trade. They're getting his contract part of the trade.
I think that we could get like some depth pieces, like some.
I saw a trade
power forward.
I mean, there's if this happens, you need to get a point guard back because you.
Well,
sure, Jordan McLaughlin was good.
I don't know that we have to because Pat Bev can play point guard and Ant can play shooting guard, which is what his actual position.
I agree, but I also think Patrick Beverley should move to the bench. I don't think he can be a starter.
Yeah, and then would McLaughlin just not get any minutes then?
No, you could play and then you can mix match lineups too. Like Pat Bev and J-Mac can play together. Patrick Beverley and like Jordan, I think that can happen. I saw a trade where we could bring back Malcolm Brogdon, who I think would be a huge upgrade over D'Angelo Russell. He is a very smart player. He's pretty efficient. He can pass the ball. He's not like looking for a shot late in the game like D'Angelo Russell does.
So you're saying that we would go after a point guard and just Pat Bev would move to the bench?
I think so.
Yeah, I'd hope so. Because I want Edwards at the shooting guard.
I think that is best case scenario, Anthony Edwards at the shooting guard.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's his position. I mean, yeah, he can play small forward because of his size, but we want him at 2 guard.
Yeah. Another thing, they have to go after a big this offseason.
Yeah,
it was definitely exploited in the Grizzlies series. Now, I will say that if they played any other team, it wouldn't have looked as bad. It's just the Grizzlies are literally the best offensive rebounding team in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's a good thing. Looking back on it now, it's a good thing that they got exploited for this because we saw it all season.
It 100% is, yeah.
But like Nasri can't be your backup 5, I don't think. And Jared Vanderbilt
needs to go to the bench.
Long term cannot be a starter.
Yeah.
So
he's a good bench guy though.
Yeah. I think it would open up things so much for Cat if you can get a starter that maybe doesn't play as good a defense as Vanderbilt, but he can knock down a 3. Like maybe he's a 35% 3-point shooter. Like he's not just a guy.
Yeah, we need 3 and D guys.
Yeah,
3 and D.
And they're hard to find, so you're not going to get a super good one, my guess. But even a guy like, I don't know, I'm not saying we're going to get this guy, but like Jeff Green, who's on the Nuggets, he's old. But a player like that, he can play defense and he can knock down the 3 ball. He can space the floor, and he's a 4.
Yeah, and who can rebound too. We need good rebounders.
Yeah, because if Vando is basically our only rebounder.
Yeah, you're on board with McDaniels going to the starting.
Yes. And Jaden McDaniels played a lot of power forward this year. He's not built for that. He's small forward. He is a small forward, and he can stop just about anybody at that position. Yeah. Long term, I love him as a small forward starter.
I do too.
So if you can have, let's just play this out. Malcolm Brogdon at your point guard, Anthony Edwards shooting guard, McDaniels at small forward, a Jeff Green-like player at power forward, 4, and Cat at 5.
Very good.
That would be extremely good. With your bench having Beverly, Vanderbilt, Beasley, Nasri,
McLaughlin.
Nasri hopefully at the 4, and maybe you could pick up a big guy.
Yeah.
What are the chances you can get like a Mo Bamba? Now, obviously, I don't know if the Magic want to get rid of a guy like that, but my God, would he fit good here? And I'll go back to when last year's draft, I was so high on Evan Mobley. He was my number 1 pick. God dang it. That guy would have freaking fit perfectly in the system next to Cat. 2 twin towers with a guy like Cat.
At the power forward.
Yeah. That would have been good. So and then you got Gupta. What are they going to do with Gupta? I think
let's touch on that. Do we think he's going to get hired?
I think so. I do. I think and it's so rare in this day and age, and Finch talked about it in his exit interview, to have the front office and the head coach always on like such a good relationship, and Gupta and Finch freaking love each other. So I don't know if you can just get rid of that. Like Gupta hasn't done anything wrong. He's made some good moves, whether they're big moves or not, like extending Beverly. That was a good move. Really hasn't, and not doing anything was the right move at the deadline, and that's what he did. He didn't make it about himself and want to like make a move to show what he can do.
Yeah, to try to as like a tryout. Yeah.
Yeah, he did the smart thing. He's not about himself. So I like Gupta, and he's probably not that expensive. So if you don't want to spend a lot of money on him, that's probably.
Well, another thing is a lot of the staff with Rosas is still there, right?
Yeah.
Like scouts and like developmental guys. Because that's the biggest thing. Because, I was talking to my uncle about it. Like, we were talking about like how the Wolves like can't mess up Edwards, and he goes, "Well, I trust the front office a little more now than he did say like 10 years ago."
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, as long as that is still in place, because, we could have a regime change, probably not. But with Gupta, as long as we're still getting the same guys that have been here the last 2-3 years.
Yeah. Do you think if the Wolves traded D'Lo, Cat would be unhappy?
I don't.
I don't either. I think, and it's been said, like when Ryan Saunders was fired, people thought Cat would be pissed, and he ended up being totally fine. So, I'll say it again. I really like D'Lo. I like his calm demeanor on the court.
Yeah. He is calm, but man, he didn't bring it.
No, he didn't. But you also have to realize if they didn't have him, they would not have been nearly as good in the regular season. So he did bring stuff to the team, especially early in the season. His defense was really good, surprisingly.
Just post All-Star break, he was just really, really bad.
Yeah, and his confidence was probably low.
Yeah,
I don't know what was going on there because. Yeah, he just literally couldn't make a shot besides the Clipper game. So
that's right.
That's the Wolves talking points. Let's talk about the purple. The Vikings had the draft. They picked Lewis Seen. They made 6 trades. Kwesi, aka Rick Spielman 2.0.
Hey, no,
no, I it's not a bad thing. I like Kwesi.
Yeah.
I'm not going to judge him on anything that happens for like 2 years from now. So. There's rumors of J.C. Treader, the center, possibly his dad saying like he wants him to come to the Vikings. That would be awesome.
That'd be big because they just declined Bradbury's option, 50-year option.
That would be huge because the center is arguably, besides the left tackle, the most important because that's who's giving the ball to the quarterback. That's who's creating holes for the running back in the middle. So if you can shore up that position, I mean, how bad Bradbury has been. To get a player like J.C. Treader, who's really good, would make the world of difference. I mean, Kirk wouldn't be have guys in his face 2 seconds after he snapped it.
Oh my gosh!
So that would be massive.
Another thing is the O-line is actually kind of looking pretty good going into next season.
Yeah,
we're all set up at the tackle positions. The guards are solid because it's Ezra Cleveland and who's the other
one? I mean, they brought in somebody, I think.
Yeah, but that's who it is because they're not. Udo is not.
Oh, I hope not. Yeah. Hold on, I'm gonna look up the depth chart of the Vikings offensive line because they brought in a couple of guys. I think there's like a guy named Reed, that went to like Mankato State. He's played in a lot of games. Let's see, Jesse Davis.
Yeah.
Right guard. Chris Reed says he's the third string. Ed Ingram, who they picked out of LSU, he's a guard, I think. So you got O'Neal. This is what ESPN has the depth chart. O'Neal, Jesse Davis, Garrett Bradbury, Ezra Cleveland, Christian Darrisaw. So that's not bad. I mean, I like Darrisaw. I like Cleveland. Brian O'Neal is unbelievable.
Yeah,
I don't know a lot about Jesse Davis, but the only hole is Garrett Bradbury. So if you could shore up that center position, this offensive line would be super good.
Yeah,
and that would make the world.
I was listening to the radio this morning, and it was sounding like Bradbury. I mean, they did decline his option, but it's not even guaranteed that he's going to get the starting job. Like it's going to be a competition there. So.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Doogie was saying on Score North that Ed Ingram can play center too. So I don't know if that's an option. Ole Udo's the fourth string right guard on here.
Yeah, he's not playing.
The Vikings announced they were playing against the Saints in London.
Which Justin Jefferson was not very happy about because he wanted to play New Orleans, which we shouldn't be happy about that either because he would have had a huge game against them.
So. Although I will say that takes away a road game. It says the Vikings are on the road. Yeah. But it's pretty much a neutral field. So now they have 9 home games and only 7 road games technically.
That's a good point. That's a really good point. Yeah.
That doesn't hurt. I'm excited to see the Vikings schedule, how many primetime games they have.
Yeah. But they have a relatively kind of easy home schedule, don't they? I mean, they got the Dolphins.
Yeah, I don't even remember.
Colts. I think Patriots, maybe. So maybe not that easy, but they're playing the NFC or they're playing the AFC East. That's who they're they're playing this year in terms of
Here, I'll
like
give
last
you
year it was the NFC West. This year I think it's the AFC East that they're playing.
Are you talking about at home or on the road?
I don't know, just on the schedule. I thought it was at home though.
So they have at home, besides the division, they have the Cowboys, Giants, Cardinals, Jets, Patriots, Colts.
Mm-hmm.
And on the road, they have the Eagles, Commanders, Bills, Dolphins, and Saints.
I kind of like that schedule. It does not seem like it.
The road is not difficult at all.
Can you read the road one more time?
Eagles, Commanders, Bills, and Dolphins. So the Bills, I guess, is difficult. And the Eagles, I guess, and we're talking non-division. But besides that, the Commanders, the Dolphins, and the Saints, none of them are going to be that good, right?
Yeah, I like that a lot. That a lot.
I think the home schedule can be different. I mean, the Colts will be decent. The Patriots will be good. Cardinals will be good. Cowboys will probably be good. But that's at home, so you should win most of your home games.
Exactly.
So, all right. Anything else on the Vikings or any other team before we wrap up?
Let's see. I'm predicting 11-6.
I think that's fair. I could even see 12-5 because this offense with Kevin O'Connell could be absolutely lethal. We don't know how much Clint Kubiak was holding back this offense. I mean, they have weapons galore and Irv Smith coming back. And if the offensive line is good, that can make the world of difference. Plus, they made some good draft picks in the defense. And they got Pat Pete back. Cameron Dantzler, maybe he makes a jump. Adding Zadarius Smith. They also have Danielle Hunter.
Smith's great.
So,
I've just received a text message saying that we should trade Dalvin. No, I do not agree with that at all.
I've been on the fence about that. I mean, at this point, we're not doing it at this part of the season. I've always been low on having a super expensive running back because I think it is pretty replaceable. So, like, I don't love Madison.
I just don't want to. We have seen what happens when Dalvin gets taken out and Madison gets put in, where it's not the same. You can't blame last year's offensive line, particularly the center and the right guard, on Dalvin. You can't do that. He did not have a lot of holes last year. But when he was in, he was such a game changer, especially the first couple weeks before he got hurt. I mean, he does get hurt too much, I'll admit, but one has to think that he's pretty motivated coming into this year, and I'm excited for what he's going to do this year, and we should not trade him. We should not.
I'll forever remember the Alex Madison Seahawks
1 yard
game I'm talking about.
That's like one of the worst 10 losses regular season of my life was that game.
The damn Seahawks were on like the 4-yard line, and it was just like a guarantee they were going to.
And Zimmer the game could have been over if Zimmer just kicked the field goal. But what did he do? He didn't do it.
Yeah.
Ugh, let's not talk about Mike Zimmer on this podcast anymore. It causes too much pain. It really does.
I like Zim. You know what? There's kind of a similarity between Mike Zimmer and D'Lo. I kind of like both of them at the time. I mean, at the time. So Mike Zimmer, right before he was leaving, I still kind of liked him just because I felt like the players played hard for him.
Dude, the culture in that locker room was so bad the last 2 years. Like, we have no idea how bad it was.
I guess it was, but it never felt like the team stopped playing for him until that week 16 game against the Packers.
Yeah.
Or whatever. That was the first time I felt like the team stopped playing for him. But besides that, the team always felt like they played hard for him. So obviously the comments like Eric Kendricks and them made after he got fired, talking about the leadership and that they need new leadership, doesn't surprise me. And I think Kevin O'Connell's well on his way.
Really good.
I really do. I think he can. Yeah, I think it's gonna be great. All right. Well, when will we be back? Maybe it's Thursday today. Maybe this weekend. Probably Monday. Let's plan on Monday. We'll be back. I'm sure there'll be more news. Maybe not with the Vikings or Wolves, but definitely with the Twins and the Wild. So. We'll talk about that then. We appreciate everybody tuning in to the Bold North Sports Podcast today. Tell a friend, tell a family member, and enjoy your